Hello, this is Rick Reardon. These two video lectures are critical to understanding ICD-10 CM coding. In it, you'll learn about conventions, abbreviations, and the differences between excludes one and excludes two, not elsewhere classified versus not otherwise specified. Please pay close attention and answer the questions that come up in these video lectures.
Hello, this is Rick Reardon again, and we're going to introduce you to ICD-10 CM. ICD-10 CM is what replaced ICD-9. So we're going to talk about the ICD-10 classification systems, main terms, and introduce you to things you'll see throughout the course. What ICD-10 CM is used for is diagnosis coding. In other words, the reason that somebody's encountering the healthcare system. This also includes any health status codes such as new employment, physicals, newborn, baby codes, what have you. It's composed of the alphabetic index and the tabular. Many conditions are found in more than one place. These could be the name of the condition as well as a subterm of complications. Nearly all of the obstetrical conditions are in the OB chapter of the book. This includes any delivery, pregnancy, or postpartum complications. There are also codes that have disease or syndrome as a main term. The main terms are printed in boldface and they're listed in the alphabetic index flush with the left margin of each column. Let's take a quick look at some. Everything you see in bold here is a main term. Things like abandonment, abdomen, aberrant, abnormal. These are all examples of main terms. Conditions can be found in more than one place in the alphabetic index. These could be complications indexed as the name of the condition, as well as the main term of complications. Disease or syndrome is a popular main term when the term is used in the condition's title or description. Subterms, also called essential modifiers, are more specific terms indented beneath. They're farther to the right by one standard indentation, and they follow in alphabetic order. Let's take a look at some of those. And here are some subterms. Abnormal bowel sounds, abnormal blood sugars. All these relate to the main term of abnormal, but this gives you a different level of what's abnormal. Carryover lines are needed for main terms or subterms because the number of words that fit on a single line of text in the alphabetic index is limited. These are two standard indents. So they give you an example here, delivery with the subterm cesarean for occurring after 37 completed weeks of gestation, but before 39. All that can't fit on one single line, so we have the carryover lines. Non-essential modifiers are terms that appear in parentheses. The presence or the absence of these terms that appear in the parentheses has no effect on the selection of codes. They either may be there or not be there. They don't change the description of the code. So an example is pneumonia could be acute, double, migratory, purulent, septic, unresolved. They're all non-essential modifiers with the main term of pneumonia. Eponyms are proper names. In other words, this is the name of a disease, organ, procedure, or a body function that's derived from the name of the person. In other words, usually a physician or scientist who first identified the condition or devised the object being named. The main term could either be the eponym itself, or the main terms of the disease, or the main terms of disease, syndrome, disorder, or deformity. See and see also. See is a mandate. We must see what's there in the index. Otherwise, you don't find the code. See also provides direction to look elsewhere. It's a recommendation. It's not mandatory as C is. Code also appears when two codes are required to describe a condition. The manifestation of these codes appears as the code in brackets, usually under the underlying etiology term, should always be reported first. So in other words, dementia with Parkinson's disease, the G20 comes first. The default code is the code listed next to the main term in the alphabetic index. It represents the condition that's most commonly associated with this main term. It's also the unspecified code for this condition. These default codes are used when the condition is documented without any other additional information to describe it. And now we get into the meat of what we're here to do, the tabular. The tabular is a numerical listing of all codes that's divided into 22 chapters. Most of the chapters, the body or organ system is the axis. So all the OB codes fall in the OB chapter, the newborn chapters, external causes, what have you. ICD-10, in addition to diseases, has external causes of morbidity and factors that influence health status or any contact with health services, such as an exam for a clinical trial or what have you. Codes are made up of categories, subcategories, and codes. Codes contain either letters or numbers, and all categories contain 3 characters. Codes can be more if you're looking for a finer level of detail beneath the code category. The code subcategory is either 5 or 4 characters long. And of course, the code itself is either 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 characters long. A category is 3 characters that represent a single disease or a group of related conditions. The 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th characters give us a finer level of specificity. When we have a 4th character of 8, we're talking about other specified category, and a 4th character of 9 is a category that's just unspecified. In other words, the provider didn't get into a finer level of detail. And then the final division is the code itself. The first character of an ICD-10 code is always an alphabetic code. All letters in the alphabet are used. So they give you an example here, XXX.XXXX. The first 3 characters are the category, and the next 3 represent the etiology, the anatomical site, the severity, and the 7th character adds specificity. This is an important point that confuses some people, so please stay with me while we work through this. ICD-10 uses a placeholder character, which is always the letter X. It's used in 2 ways. It provides for future expansion without disturbing the overall code structure, or something we'll see more often is when the code has fewer than 6 characters and a 7th character is required. If it has fewer than 6 characters, then we need to use these X's as a placeholder, so the 7th character will go in the 7th position. And again, as mentioned, certain codes have 7 characters. And if the code requires a 7th character, but it doesn't have 6 characters already there, placeholder X's are used to fill in those empty characters. Codes always consist of 3 to 7 characters. The first character is always an alphabetic character. The second is always numeric, and characters 3 through 7 can either be alphabetic or they can be numeric. A decimal always follows after the first 3 characters. The characters are not case sensitive. However, only complete codes are used for coding, not categories or subcategories. And when a 7th character is required, that X must be used to make the 7th character fall in the 7th position. That's all I have for you. We'll pick this up and continue our introduction to coding.
Hello, thank you for watching this video. Please stay tuned for the next video lecture where we'll continue on with some important coding concepts that you'll be using throughout the course. Bye now.